yesterday's game, although Liverpool started with a bad first half, the quality, man, the goals, the execution of moves, etc. That fixture for me now is the elite fixture in the calendar.
Mo Salah.
He's the best player in the Premier League right now.
It's been toxic all weekend. Ollie's brought a bit of this on himself.
Ronaldo didn't start. I was shocked. I was amazed, really, that like 5 in 5 goals he's got. Ronaldo's frustrated look when he came off the pitch. That says to you and everyone else that I was ready to play. I should have started. Sitting there 4 or 5 games ago, you're sitting there going, you know what? We've got an opportunity. We can win the league this year. We've got the players in now. Great transfer window. Whereas now you look at it and going, we're still getting the same type of results that messed us up last season. Different personnel, same result.
Sokin. They can never do it like I. When you see man pull up and slide, man stepped in a room with legends, Rio and Steve, you know it's a vibe. Check the podcast, what you wanna know? Don't ask me, go and ask Joe. If you're talking Premier League, he's on the front line and I gotta go. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know what it is. Vibe with five, and you already know what it is. It's a vibe with five, and you already know this.
Yes, guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Vibe with 5. You got here myself, Joel, No Agenda, Beya, and yes, you've got Stephen, Stretford Paddock got a win, Howson, and you've got Rio. What's going on? Ferdinand. Okay, cool.
Hold on. You feel like I'm not second in the league. I've only lost once.
Yeah, but listen, but I was gonna say you won. You know what I mean? We saw in the video, in the match day video that we just did. You said forget the United score, you know, Stretford Paddock won, all of that stuff. But before we get into the banter that I know people are dying to hear from, the feedback from the games, etc., we got to give a massive shout out to Sokin.
Right. So a lot of the problem for football fans is we spend a lot of time and money following our teams, as you know, up and down the country, whether that's season tickets, whether that's paying for the subscriptions, Sky, BT or wherever to watch the games that we can't get to. You've got all of the travel and that involved, and if you buy shirts, you're into all that sort of stuff. And those hard-earned costs can mount up across the season.
Mm-hmm. I think the goal for Sokin at this phase and this part of their development, I think, and the rollout is that they want to be the people, the company that actually help football fans, for them to maybe to feel secure, more confident, more stable around their financial decisions, because it can get a bit overwhelming at times. And I think, listen, if they can enjoy priceless football experiences without any financial stress, then Sokin are doing their job, and that's their goal. And I think their aim in rolling this out and actually executing this is to make sure that through the Sokin app, activations with all of the football partners, the clubs, the different players, etc., like myself, like 5, and the Money Goals campaign, they want to be able to help educate, inspire football fans to take more control of their finances. And I think it's as simple as that.
No, it is. I mean, for you guys who might not, you saw last week, we spoke about Money Goals. People have different money goals. That's what we're talking about right now. The Money Goals campaign is so important. My particular money goal this season is to make sure that I'm able to save up money to buy me and my little one Arsenal kits and stuff like that, because it can be a little bit expensive. If I achieve it, money goals. So it's all about that Sokin app for sure.
My money goals is to afford 1 Red Bull at the gaff that he went to tea last night.
Yeah.
Listen, I think
you don't know where he went. Go and have a look at his Instagram.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, Rio had the biggest smile. Like, I woke up at like 3 a.m. Yeah, I went to go get some food, innit? I thought, oh, what? Recent upload? What's going on over here? I see Rio with Salt Bae just...
You know what? The weekend, it was my... one of my close friends' boy's birthday. We thought we'd take him out. We'll go for some food, man. And do you know what? Nusret, we went to where I got married a couple of years ago. I met Nusret, or Salt Bae, whatever you want to describe him. I met him in Dubai, and got talking. And I said to him, "You know what? I'm getting married, man, in a year or so." He went, "I'll be there." I thought he was joking, yeah. And it's the location that I got set to get married. It had one of his restaurants in it, just by coincidence. And then I just rang him. So we exchanged numbers and we used to chat a little bit. And I rang him and said, "Listen, I'm getting married, and one of your restaurants is there." He went, "Rio, I'll be there." You don't talk a
No
lot.
way.
Not many words, yeah. And I swear down, I was like, I don't know if he will be here or not. I'm not sure. I organised my wedding without him being involved, yeah. Then the day before my wedding, we had like a brunch. All my friends and family there on the beach and stuff like that, next to his restaurant and stuff. Bruv, all of a sudden, he just turned up, man. This
No
guy
way.
just turned up. He was there serving like the burgers that he does, all of the food, the steaks, etc., to all my family and friends, my kids. It was like surreal. It was nice, man. So obviously the opening's been in London recently, and we've been chatting. I just went down there, man, and just treated the family.
I would never let him feed my girl though. No way. I ain't got one, but I wouldn't let him feed my girl.
That's insecurity creeping in there. I'm not that guy.
It is. The way he moves, nah, mate, nah.
No, he's not feeding my girl the steak the way I see him feeding certain guys the steak.
No
but
way.
No, you know what? Let's get into the football. He's a massive football fan, by the way. But you know what? I think we have to start at Anfield. And I have to say that fixture is the elite fixture in the calendar right now.
It is.
Back in the day, you should look and you say Man United versus who, or Liverpool maybe, or versus Chelsea when Mourinho was there, or Arsenal with Wenger was the elite fixture. I think right now, for quality that you see in that fixture, yesterday's game, although Liverpool started with a bad first half, the quality, man, the goals, the execution of moves, etc., that fixture for me now is the elite fixture in the calendar. Steve,
Mo Salah.
Do you know what? The other day, I had an argument. I had an argument with Michael Owen about Salah the other day, and he was saying, he was arguing that he would take Suarez's best season over Salah's, and I was
did I tell you last week? There's people out there that think like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I realise there's a lot of people think, but listen, this Salah is scoring goals and putting in performances to shoot his team to win in Champions League and league titles. As good as Suarez was,
the goal yesterday was a joke.
Huh?
Yesterday's goal was an absolute filth. But he also is providing for other people as well. His all-round games is better than what Suarez could even dream of being.
He's the best player in the Premier League right now, bar none.
I respect you still, because even though I know it's a Liverpool thing, whatever, we got to call it as it is.
It's bunning me. It's bunning my chest talking like this about Liverpool players.
But you got to say it, man. That goal yesterday, it was like a playground goal.
It was like being on FIFA. That chop, I've done that many times, thousands of times on FIFA, where you pretend to whip it top corner from that side and you chop it back. It was a reverse type of angle of the way I scored against Liverpool at Anfield and Stretford in that time, Steve, wasn't it? When I chopped it. And a few defenders were like, I'm searching.
It was the way he rolled over the ball as well before that.
A rebound.
It's the way he rolled over as well. You know, the way he just rolled the ball over, caressed it over, like
playground skills.
Nah, man. That was something special.
Do you know what as well? It was lovely to see Foden as well. I think Sterling, in terms of changing the game. I think he played a big part, but I think Foden, wow, like for a young talent, man, I think he likes playing at Anfield, it seems, because he scored last season there as well.
He got 6 goals against Liverpool, something like that.
Yeah, it's like a ridiculous amount of goals at a young age like that. But I just feel what I liked about Liverpool, for starting with Liverpool, I like that they started terribly and they reacted. Went in at half-time, the manager changed a couple of things, spoke to the team, they came out a different animal, and it made for a better game as well. The first half for City, they absolutely dominated, pressed the life out of Liverpool, penned them back. Liverpool couldn't get out. And they could have had 2 or 3 first half, City. So I think City will be going away from that game thinking there's an opportunity missed, really, to beat Liverpool there. They didn't take it. And I think Liverpool will be happy with a draw. But
you've got to win your home games, though, in these rivalries. You've got to win the onus is on the home team to win this. I think Pep comes away from that still pretty happy, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he is because. So go on, Rio.
I think he's I think Pep. I think he'll be happy on one hand, and he'll have a concern on the other that they're not finishing their chances. And it's always going to happen when they miss chances, or when they drop points, or when a game that you think, listen, they could have won it, and it will come back to that same old question: if they had a number 9, would a true striker, you're right, Steve, would they have finished that game off in the first half? And it's hypothetical, yeah, if buts and maybes, but you'd like to think that a Harry Kane or whoever it would be would finish off them chances. But I said this the other day as well. I would rather play against an out-and-out number 9, don't care who he is in world football, than play against a team like who play with a false 9 like Pep's teams, because I think it's more difficult. Every defender wants to play up against a 9, against someone. I'm going up against you today. That's it. The moment you've got rotations, the fluidity of movement around you, players running from different areas, it makes it so much more difficult to play against. But from City's point of view, they're laying on these chances on a plate, and they need finishers. They need people to finish. And that's where it begs my question about Sterling. Say whatever you want about Sterling. If you look at his goals record over the last 3 or 4 years, there's no one who can look at him at Manchester City. He's the main goal threat. And that's what's baffling me a little bit about him not playing. I know Jack Grealish is coming, etc. You've got to find a place for him in the team, but I think you've got to find a place for Sterling in that team for goals, just for goals alone.
Jack
Yeah,
Grealish
but
is
it's
getting a
hard.
bit of stick as well, isn't he?
Pardon?
Jack Grealish is coming in for a little bit of stick. Another big game where you would want your £100 million player to have some sort of an impact where he didn't.
Do you know what though? Like I've been the most expensive player. I've been the most expensive defender going to a team. It's pressure, and I have to say, the big games. It's not even the smaller games. It's the biggest games where you feel that you're being judged most, I sensed that immediately. Like we played against Real Madrid, I think it was, and stuff like that. And you're looking across the tunnel at big players from your big rivals, great players in world football, and you're knowing and thinking to yourself, whether they think it or not, you're thinking, he's asking, show me now what that £100 million is, or what my fee was. What's the world record fee now? You need to show me that. So that adds pressure to you as an individual. Oh my God, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Take away even the fact of the new tactics he's got to take on board from Pep. Would he be getting fed loads of information that he's got to play maybe a different way a little bit and tweak his game? But he's got the pressure. Paris Saint-Germain the other day, there's no doubt in my mind that Jack Grealish is looking across the line and going, Sterling, Neymar, Mbappe and Messi are all looking at me and going, how much? Show me. That's pressure, man. There's more pressure from them three than any amount of fans, millions of fans around the world for that game. 100%. And when he finishes it, if he hasn't played ball, he's walking off thinking, rah, missed an opportunity. Them man don't rate me. Them guys, they ain't going to rate me. That's how you feel. I felt like that. I've been there. I've felt that feeling where you feel embarrassed. I played against Brazil in the World Cup. I hadn't even gone for big money then. But before I went to Man United, and I was thinking Ronaldo and Rivaldo and Ronaldinho wouldn't even recognise me if they see me. That's how I felt. And it's your pride. And all these men have got egos. I've got an ego. Jack Grealish will have an ego. All the players will have egos. And they want to be massaged at sometimes, and they want to be liked and they want to be respected. And at the moment, he's finding his feet. You can't expect him to come in and hit the ground running. And hit him just because he's £100 million. It's a different environment, different tactics, a new manager, new team, different levels every day at training, different levels in expectations for games every week. And I think players need time, and we're in a generation where people think things need to happen immediately, and it's not always like that.
How long does it take?
Can I just add, right there? Sorry, Steve. Let me just butt in a second. Can I just add, this is why I want to give a massive shout out to Raheem Sterling, because Raheem Sterling came from Liverpool for 50 mil, right? And to be fair, I find it very difficult for players to go to Man City when they're not complete players. They're a bit like Real Madrid. You've got to be there, and you can't really be there trying to improve. Maybe a Phil Foden, but you saw where that got him on the bench for a few years. But he could get away with that because he's part of the academy. You have to have your stuff on lock. So for Raheem to come in and do what he's done in the last 4 or 5 years, he's one of the most decorated players. I think it's only because he plays for Man City that people don't recognize the levels. If it wasn't Harry Maguire who had his credentials playing for Man United, or if Raheem played for Liverpool or United or maybe even Chelsea, the bollocks he would have when he goes into the England squad, bruv, you wouldn't even be doubting him the way he gets doubted. Do you see what I mean? Mm. So, I give Raheem massive respect, and I'm very interested to see where it's going to pan out for him, because right now City have to play the £100 million man. They have to, you know, at least for a season.
I'll say it now. If it continues like this for Raheem won't be there next season. I don't think, because he can't sit and afford to wait around. I don't think he's that type of guy. He's a winner. He wants to win. He's dedicated to his profession. He's a professional. He'll sit there. He'll take what's given to him. If he's not playing, it's fine. But then I think his mind will be, listen, I've got to go now because I ain't wasting another season sitting there.
But where?
I don't know.
Probably a question for Fabrizio Romano show. But where?
Real Madrid, Barcelona, them teams next season will have money again. They'll have money again.
Here's some I don't know who it was, some sheikh or something was talking about bailing Barcelona out, and you're like, they're $1 billion in debt, and he's like, yeah, I'll clear that for you if you want. Want me to clear that? I'll clear that.
You'll probably make it back. That's why at some point. But I just feel that like there won't be any shortage of takers for Raheem Sterling. It's just which clubs. It's got to be the right club at the right. It's all about timing with these transfers. And I think by that time next season, if he's not playing, I think he'll be somebody that would appeal to all those big clubs. It's just whether the finances are back in place again.
I disagree because I feel like in England, it's a no-go for him. He's got that ego now where he's got how many Premier League titles? What, 3? Maybe 4? I'm not sure. But either way, there's no one in England. He's not going back to Liverpool. He's not going United. I don't think Chelsea are going to need him with the investments that they already have. What's left? And Everton? It's not going Arsenal. So I think in England, it's a write-off, complete write-off. PSG? Nah, come on, man.
Tottenham can't get in the mix. Arsenal can't get in the mix with a Sterling right now.
It's true. It's unfortunate, but it's true, you know. If you look at
it'll be like 5th choice again.
I don't think that's happening.
Say again?
He's not going to go PSG and be 5th choice, is he?
Yeah.
It depends. If Mbappe goes, you don't know what's going to happen. Listen, I just feel that I don't think he'll have a problem finding a club. Simple as that.
It's the big club that he needs, though, Rio. He can't just.
That's what I mean. I don't think there'll be a shortage of big clubs taking him. I don't think there will. I think both the Spanish teams, I think, would take a Raheem Sterling. Listen, you can't doubt what he's done, man. This guy's a proven winner. He does it. Big game, little game.
It's the money, Rio. It's the money because they ain't got that kind of money. That's why I think it's tricky for him. Don't get me wrong. He can play there and he's good enough. But it's. I don't see Barcelona magically coming out next year and buying him for what? How much is he worth? What, 50 million, 60 million, 70 maybe?
If Jack Grealish is 100 million, he's got to be in 100 million bracket.
Yeah, but then, okay, that makes it even worse. That was me trying to be nice. So then, them men are not paying that for Raheem next season.
No,
it's too soon.
I will pay it. I will pay it in a heartbeat. I will pay it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the price is dictated by both clubs, though, isn't it? City probably would be all right. I'm not happy, but all right with Raheem Sterling being moved on, I imagine. So that doesn't mean he's going to go for 100. Aston Villa wanted to keep hold of him as much as they could with Jack Grealish.
If he hasn't played all season, he's not going for 100. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's one for the Fabrizio Romano show, guys.
We'll hold that for later on then.
Yeah, we'll ask him and we can get the answer there. All right, guys. So back to the game.
Move on. City and Liverpool then. Did we see the champions in that game yesterday, do you think?
Do you know what? It ebbs and flows, man, because when in the first 4 or 5 games of the season, I'm sitting there going, Chelsea look like the team to beat. Now move on 3-4 games past that stage, I'm sitting there going, Man City are the team to beat. Man City have looked major impressive against the big teams. They dominated Chelsea away. They've been to Liverpool, dominated them first half, should have seen the game off in the first half. 2-2 draw. They're probably a little bit disappointed. The more disappointed of the two teams. They look the most impressive to me. They look formidable at times. There's no doubt they're going to dominate probably 99% of every game they're playing. It's just about finishing. And I think once they get over that element of missing chances and not finishing off all of the great work that they're doing in that build-up play, I think if they get that right, I think they're the team to beat Man City. I think they've just got the experience and they've got the class. They've got the players. Tactically, they seem to be head and shoulders above everybody else.
You're right. No, I said that start of the season, and I still think City are the team to beat. I think the only thing that might switch it though, Rio, is like we said, Mo Salah, man. Do you know what I mean? That guy for Liverpool right now, I said it a few weeks ago, he's low-key having the best season that he's ever had at Liverpool. Scary.
9 in 9. He's got 9 in 9, bruv. Crazy.
It's mad, you know, and obviously, and they got their players back. I think that's Liverpool starting 11 is good enough to compete against anyone in the league. So, yeah.
The only thing that worries me for Liverpool, or maybe a bit of a concern, is just that they've got the African Nations Cup in January. Salah and Mane both disappeared for a month. So it'd be interesting to see what games they are, what games they're going to be missing for.
What a finish, though. We haven't bigged up Mane for that finish, man. My word.
The run, it was a lovely run. Do you know what? The weight of that pass, you know how difficult it is for Salah to play that. You know, when you're running at high speed, top speed, and to play that ball behind the defenders and the weight of that pass to get it right. So many times you see players running at full speed. It's been a bit of a hazy, jumped past a player, then the pass is there. They don't manage to slow their brain down and slow it down so it becomes an easier pass. It's everything's flying about and they play the pass, it runs out to the goalkeeper or runs out of play. That pass, the execution was exquisite, brother, and the finish was mad.
Yeah. And he said that in training, they do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but you can definitely see a pattern of play right there. I'm just going to leave it as that for now.
This guy's funny. Steve, I'll let you bring this in, man.
It's been toxic all weekend. And you know what? Ollie's brought a bit of this on himself. A bit of it, not all of it. A bit of it, though. I wasn't happy with the selection when I saw it. And I also don't think the substitutions necessarily really helped. They were two like-for-like substitutions when you're playing against a team that's hitting you with a low block. Yes, we were winning 1-0 at a time, but 1-0 with this Manchester United side, is he cutting a cake?
Look at this guy. Look at this guy, man. This guy's oh, mate. Go on, carry on, Steve.
So I wasn't happy with the team selection. I wanted to see Ronaldo and Cavani, and people will say, well, you did see Ronaldo and Cavani. I mean, no, together, because I think you get a bit of a multiplier when you put them together. If you was, right, let's ask this from a direct point of view for you. You're playing up against a deadly centre forward like Cavani. Between Mina and Keane, two good lads in the air, good defenders, solid defenders, you can probably be relatively comfortable looking after him on his own, right? Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, it depends on the service, doesn't it? It depends on the service.
Yeah. But you're not panicking, I wouldn't have thought, with just him on his own between the two of you.
No.
If I put Ronaldo into the mix, now you've got to look after Ronaldo and I'll take Cavani. Does that put a bit of panic in you?
Oh, obviously, when you're left 1v1, that means 1v1. We see it all the time. You saw against Brentford, Van Dijk and Matip struggled against a pairing.
Yeah.
Teams nowadays don't play with two ups often, but when it happens, a lot of defenders struggle because they're not used to it. They're used to having the extra body as a security. They're only playing, they're playing 2v1 most of the time in situations. When you got to play 1v1 with two up there, it creates problems.
Thank you. So what I wanted to see was United play Cavani and Ronaldo together, because Cavani's always going to keep stretching the defense. He's going to press. Ronaldo's not going to press. But Ronaldo in the build-up's also sort of peeling off into sort of that Pogba zone, sort of left sort of half channel a little bit, a bit of an inside forward kind of vibe. And he's getting involved in build-up play. He's getting on the end of stuff once you get into the final third, but in the build-up, he's coming and helping out and getting involved in link-up play. And I thought having both of those, especially if Ronaldo's going to vacate and then go and reoccupy into that sort of space, I thought that would be really, really hard to track.
So you would be willing to change the whole formation just to get those two in the team, yeah?
No, I would have played. I understand why he wants to play the 4-2-3-1. And this is probably worth us talking about a little bit as well. But I'd have played Ronaldo on the left, because you don't really lose the holding of the width when you're playing against a team in a low block, because I'm going to push Luke Shaw forward anyway, and he's going to hold the width. Him or Tellers are going to hold the width on the left-hand side. That allows us to get two strikers into the box, three, because Bruno Fernandes also thinks he's a striker. But when you've got Wan-Bissaka with his delivery on one side, which is not strong enough, I would like to have seen Sancho on the right-hand side for delivery. So you've got delivery coming in from both sides with two elite strikers in the middle. And I think United would have broken through earlier. more often and probably had the game out of sight before the 60th minute.
You see, just to butt in there, what Ollie and his staff would have been thinking there though is that okay, we'll play that formation, but then we get nothing defensively from Cristiano running backwards because we want him fresh and we want him up the pitch. There's a problem then, because the balance of the team then is off, and that's what they'd have been thinking about. I think the overrides playing two like that up front.
Valid, but you don't get any pressing of Anthony Martial either.
But you get more. That's what I'm saying. He will come back. If you watch the game, he was sometimes on Shaw's toes at times in the game.
He looked after Godfrey fairly well positionally. Didn't press him though. Left him to it. Let him have the ball. But they didn't. You've got to think that for what we had.
I would say that. Listen, I agree with you. I would have played that as well, and I would have said to Cristiano, cheat. You can afford to cheat. Ben Godfrey, as good a defender he is, great young talent he is, going forward it isn't his best attribute. And really, he's not going to be overlapping all game. He's not like a Danny Alves. He's not like a Kyle Walker or Trent Alexander-Arnold. His main attribute is to get you 1v1 and defend against you. He's great at that. Yeah. So I would have said, right, okay, that's fine. Go, let him go. But I want to sit in that pocket that he leaves. But this is all if buts and maybes with hindsight. But I just feel that these games is what we mentioned last season were hurting us, stopping us from contending to win the league, and it started to creep in already. We got out of jail with the Villarreal game during the week. That was alarm bells enough there. We dropped points before that. Remind me the game it was again.
Was it Villa?
Villa. Get beat by Villa at home.
Villa.
Yeah. And then obviously we dropped points again against Everton. So Villa and Everton, no disrespect to those teams, but we should be wiping them away and saying, go, it's not a given, but that if you want to win the league, them teams get dismantled and sent back home.
And if we do, we're 5 points clear at the top of the league now. Well, 3 points. We're 5 points better off, 3 points clear in the league.
Yeah, and so that's the problem. And so if you're sitting there 4 or 5 games ago, you're sitting there going, you know what, we've got an opportunity. We could win the league this year. We've got the players in now, great transfer window. Whereas now you look at it and going, we're still getting the same type of results that messed us up last season. Different personnel, same results.
To beat a low block, you've got to do something a bit risky at times. You can't just go 4-2-3-1, we'll figure it out. You have to overload certain areas. You have to do some things that are probably going to be scary. You have to leave one centre back, one in the half space, and flood everybody else forward. You've got to get numbers in the box. You've got to try and overload somewhere. Otherwise, the reason people use low blocks is because they're effective.
I don't think they were an absolute low block though. They had. Say again.
Of course there was. If you go look at where all
an
of
absolute completely low block. Mate, they had 13 shots on goal. They weren't just sitting there. They had 13 shots on goal to our 12.
30% possession as well. They was completely off they had everybody behind the ball.
Mate, they were a constant threat the whole game. I never sat in that stadium for 1 minute and felt easy and felt at ease for 1 minute.
But they were defending in a low block, completely low block.
That's not completely true, because there were times where the Courier and that was actually dominating in the middle, and on top of that, you did see Ben Godfrey go forward. Yes, a lot of it was via counter attack, but they weren't sitting there defensively saying, "Go on, let us have it as much as possible." It didn't happen like that.
Yeah, they were. Look at where United's passing ended up. We was basically just sitting outside their box, rocking it round in that U shape. There was no penetration from United. They sat and defended and didn't really need to do much else because we didn't have any sort of penetration. No one was willing to take a man on. Mason was the only one really trying. Like, you have to try and create an overload somewhere to create some sort of space. You do that by quick passing, off the ball movement, or someone running at someone. And United had none of that. None of that.
All right. So let me ask you now, Steve. Yeah. Let's get to what people really wanna know. Saw the starting lineup. What was your expression? What was your thoughts when you saw that Ronaldo had been benched after scoring 5 in 5 appearances?
My rule would be Ronaldo plays if he's got both feet attached. It's Ronaldo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen some people. So I was critical of Tony Marshall. I said he scored, but he didn't have a good performance. People say, well, if Ronaldo does that, you'd be happy. Okay, but Ronaldo's also got nearly 20 years of experience where he will pretty much produce one goal a game. Tony Marshall doesn't. So are we honestly trying to compare Tony Marshall to Cristiano Ronaldo here? You don't get the same sort of thing. And also, Cristiano's still creating chances for other people. I think Tony offered a damn thing. No, not only did Tony not offer a damn thing, I would have gone
You're being harsh on him there. You're being harsh on him there. He had a good game, to be fair to him.
No. He did.
It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't as bad as you're making it seem. If I'm to be very honest with you, I've got to defend him right there. And I'm one of Martial's biggest critics. And to be fair to him,
Joel,
you know,
Bruno passed him the ball. He miscontrolled it, and Bruno overtook him trying to get it back.
Steve, you can't because, and I think whoever you were arguing with is right. If that was Ronaldo, yes, you can't compare the two, but sometimes he doesn't do anything in the game. He gets the winner, and people are happy. You know, like I still do think that Ole got it wrong not starting Ronaldo, but Martial did justify his start in a way as well.
No, he didn't. This is the problem. When you look at he scored a goal, that justifies it. It doesn't. And yet it was still 1-0 when he went off the pitch. That doesn't really mean anything. The game should have been done and dusted by the 60th minute mark. So I'll be
honest, if Ronaldo didn't start, I was shocked. I was amazed, really, that like 5 in 5 goals he's got. When your striker's on form, is it? I said this on telly the other day. Is it? Kane gets 5 in 5. Do they drop him? Aguero gets 5 in 5. Does he come out the team? Lukaku's got 5 in 5. Does he come out the team really when they're on a rich vein of form? I don't think. And the only thing I'd say is Ronaldo, I think, is experienced enough to be able to say, listen, my body's not feeling great. Just leave me at this one. I think that's when you're dealing with experience like that. I think they're capable of being able to come to you because they know their body's better than anybody else at that time and say, listen, Gaffer, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through the 90 today. Probably the best leave me on the bench. But I think when Ronaldo's frustrated look when he came off the pitch, that says to you and everyone else that I was ready to play. I should have started. And that's where his frustration lies. And the result obviously adds to that. But another person who I think probably could be valid in having disappointment would be Jesse Lingard. I think he's sitting there probably. He's getting goals. He's contributing every time he comes on the pitch. He set up Ronaldo's winner against Villarreal midweek. He scored goals important times for Man United since he's come back from West Ham. He's probably sitting there thinking, wow, how can I not start? That left wing position there is where he was doing all the damage for West Ham. That's the perfect opportunity to get him involved. And he adds a little bit more from the midfield area as well because he can get in there and play in that area too. But it's all if, buts and maybes. And I think with hindsight, it seems easier. I think Ole done it because he wants to freshen up the team. I get that and give minutes to Cavani, he said. But when the result it's always a risk. When you're dealing with someone like Ronaldo, who's almost guaranteeing you a goal a game at the moment, you're going to come in for criticism, and I think Ole will accept that. He took the risk, and I think he understands criticism will come his way because whatever decision you make with Ronaldo, it's going to be headline news. And I think I think Gary Neville said it today. I don't know, I'm not sure who said it, but I see it online about Ronaldo needs to be told about walking off and trudging off the way he did. But it's almost like saying we want to take away emotion, take away natural emotion in the team. I think how many times loads of us would have walked off that pitch screaming our heads off going, that's not right. We would have always all done it. Yeah,
Rio, all right, I hear you. But if that was Martial that did that, how would you feel about it?
I don't like the way you're comparing Martial to Ronaldo. He's had a career worth of goals. Certain man's different. Certain guys, there's a difference in like, when you're performing, I don't know, I might be wrong, but it's like, for instance, when we played in Ronaldo, when Ronaldo was in our team, Darren Fletcher was a dog's body, almost. He was aware enough to understand and intelligent enough to understand. I might have to do another man's graft to enable us to actually kill teams off and just leave him a bit fresher. He's not going to run back as much in that area. It's fine. You stay there and cheat a little bit. So when we get it, you're in prime time position to hurt them. You earn that. You earn the right to be looked after like that. You earn the right to be for other people to stand in and say, listen, I will do a bit more of the work for you. Don't worry. That's only earned. That doesn't just come as a given. And Martial hasn't earned the right yet to be able to do them type of things.
You know what? You know what? I have to say you're 100% right, because I remember Patrick Vieira said that when they started trusting Thierry Henry, he said, all right, you can go up the pitch, but you better start getting the goals. And it wasn't until he started getting the goals that Thierry Henry could express himself even more as the years had gone. So I think you're right. And I think Gary Neville said the same thing about Ronaldo. He wasn't as concerned about him tracking back as much as the years went because he knew he does the business up top. So
and I think it's important for young players to understand as well. A lot of young players, like I did, you look at players and you look at them at the finished article. You look at Ronaldo, oh, that's the guy I want to be. I'm going to copy everything he does. But he's earned the right to do some of the things that he's done. So you've got to strip it back sometimes. And when he first came, he had to run back, chase the fullback. He had to fill in for people, etc., and play the game. Until he started showing that he could be the guy to be relied upon to score the goals if we let him cheat a little bit, let him stay up the pitch a bit higher at times. But when the ball came to him, he delivered. You can't be doing that and not delivering. You don't get a chance.
Joel, 18 years ago, right? If Ronaldo had run off the pitch like that, Rio's going to pin him up against the wall in the changing room. Yeah. Today, though, he's probably going to, if Rio's 33, 34, he's probably going to be sitting next to him in the changing room going, it's different.
No, right.
It's different because
listen,
he made it
I'm a fair guy. People know me on this show. I say it as it is. You're right. You're right. I think this is why we're hearing it. We listen to each other's opinions, but I want to know, Steve, it sounded to me, watching the Matchday 360 video, that you felt like saying Ole got it wrong, but you didn't quite say Ole got it wrong. I just want to hear it.
I've done 2 videos this weekend saying Ole got it completely fucking wrong. Let's not play games here. Right, I'm not shy about calling what it is. It is what it is. Sure? I defend Ole because I think people criticize him for the wrong things. That is 100% his remit, and I think my opinion is he got it 100% wrong.
If you look at Cristiano Ronaldo's workload and then what he's got coming down the line, he's got an international against Qatar, who he's not going to play in that friendly probably, and then Luxembourg, I think it is, in a qualifier. There's ample time to recover. So, and if that conversation maybe, I don't know if it was had or if it wasn't, but I just feel that because it's International Week coming, there's time to recover there for him. So workload, I don't think is an issue. So that's where I think a mistake was maybe made.
Told you he's not playing in Qatar because you know what Ronaldo's like. He's chasing those goals, mate. And
no, but I think that's a conversation. Listen, Fergie used to say to us, listen, I'll play so-and-so today, but you better not go and play 90 minutes at international level.
Ole's not Fergie. If Ole's telling Ronaldo, you better not go play against Qatar, don't mean he's going to do it.
Hold on a minute. It's the manager of Man United. He can say what he wants, and he should have some weight behind that when he's saying it when you're manager of Man United. So don't get it twisted.
But this is Cristiano Ronaldo. You just said what I'm saying.
We don't know. We don't know, yeah? We don't know, but has that conversation been had? If it had, it might have panned out different. We don't know, but I'm just saying, I'd like to think that that's a conversation that will be had before team selection when you're dealing with an experienced elite athlete like Cristiano. That's all I'm saying. And that's where I thought there might have been a mistake made. I understand as well. Ole said, I've got to give minutes to Cavani. I get that totally. But at the expense of but at the expense of Cristiano, I don't know.
Right. Think about how this, right? So if I'm Ole and you're Ronaldo and I say, listen, I'm not going to play you against Villarreal midweek because I want to focus on the league. I think you need to be playing 90 minutes in the league. And I'm going to just maybe bring you on half an hour off the bench midweek. That's an easier, more sensible conversation to have with him rather than saying, I'm not going to play you because I think you need a rest on the Saturday. And he's like, I'm playing Qatar and Luxembourg, mate. Like, don't we need 3 points here? Like, that's... Do you understand how the difference in the conversation there is?
That would have been my reaction.
Manchester United comes first. Bollocks who he's got midweek.
Yeah,
tired to play against Qatar.
That's what
to you, Steve, but to Ronaldo, he's a very proud Portuguese guy. And
he's playing Qatar. He could play with his
listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that he's the type of guy that is the all-time goal scorer on the international scene, right? He is going to want to make sure that keeps on going and going and going. He's not trying to miss a game against Qatar if he can help it, because he knows that's an easy 2-3 goals right there. That's what I'm saying. Let's look at it from a Ronaldo perspective. We know what he's like. He's a machine.
I also think the Ronaldo perspective, he's come to Old Trafford to win stuff, not to pick up a payday.
There's the point.
No one said he's trying to do that. I didn't say that.
He would have taken a huge pay cut to come here, probably. So Do not get it twisted. He's not come here for a party or a chill mode. He's come here to win. And I think that's where his frustration would have been most. I don't even think it's about so much not playing. It's about the result. He trudged off that pitch, peed off that they hadn't won the game. Simple as that. All the other stuff comes secondary. He is not an egotistical, absolute about individual about him. And Pete, that's contrary to what people think in the public domain. Knowing him, he's a team man first. He wants to do well for himself, don't get me wrong. But the driving factor of him being successful, he knows his team's got to win.
But they didn't.
We talk about midfield.
That's why he's upset. Huh?
Let's talk about midfield.
Go on, then.
So,
why is Joe Joe, why are you laughing, bro?
Listen, don't, because I'm just here eating my cake, you know?
One of the meltdowns that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, since we had him on the channel, I don't know if it's our fault, but since we had Donny on the channel, we spoke to him about playing in the number 6. We asked him, did you think you can play in the number 6? He thinks he can. I mean, of course, if you ask him if he could play in goal, he's probably going to say yeah. And people are losing their mind because they see Fred and McTominay getting game after game, and they don't see Donny van der Beek getting game opportunity. For me, he had an opportunity against West Ham. I don't think he played that well against West Ham.
Neither do I, see. I think we actually agreed to that, innit? I don't think he played very well.
And I think one of the reasons why United have to play a 2, and I don't see it as 2 defensive midfielders. McTominay's not a defensive midfielder. He's an 8. He's your legs. I think you have to play those 2 because you don't get balance when you play Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno's such an effective goal creator and scorer, he has to be into the team. You're not going to drop Bruno to get better balance because that's just carnage. You have to play a 2, don't you? It doesn't look like it works with Bruno being part of a 3.
Yeah, well, against Villarreal, the balance of the midfield was all over the place. That was where the weakness lied. They played a 3 in midfield, McTominay at the base of the 3, and the balance was all over the place. I've done a piece on BT the other day about it, and it was just like a lot of the chances created was through the midfield being out of position and not having that defensive framework to be able to deal with stuff or the nous. But then it goes down to like the summer. Obviously, the Ronaldo situation comes out of nowhere, and they can't not go and get him. I agree, and I'm totally fully back that. Yeah, taking Ronaldo, which I fully agree with, I'm fully behind it, just took out the possibility of addressing the defensive midfield area. So that it stuck out like a sore thumb last year, and it's sticking out even more now because you haven't got anyone in there with the capabilities, whether it's Matic because you may be worried about big spaces around him now, it's especially at Old Trafford, or Fred not understanding the role completely. He has good attributes in retrieving the balls, winning the ball. He's as good as most, but it's the positional and spatial awareness, I think, where he struggles. McTominay, I don't think he's naturally a deep line midfielder. He's an 8, a 10 when he was a kid. So there's no one in there who's actually specified defensive midfielder or who has the capability to do it anymore. So it's a concern. And it could be the thing maybe that holds us back this year. And I think that's why a lot of the fans, Steve was one of them, was clamoring, we've got to get a defensive midfielder. We've got to get a defensive midfielder. And obviously that wasn't addressed in this summer. But you can't do it all in one window. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem.
When I look at the attributes, there's a website called FBref, which is brilliant for breaking down data per 90, last 365 days. Doesn't take into account competition, whether it's club versus country. It just tells you where this player sits in the world for the about 20 different metrics. When you look at the sort of pattern that Donny's makeup makes, he's literally like a slightly worse version of Pogba. When you look at what he does, defensive pressures, tackles, interceptions, blocks.
I don't get that.
That's what it shows. When it shows like where he is for assists and goals, dribbles, progressive passes received, all that sort of stuff. It's like he's on the same sort of pattern as Pogba, but they're lower. They're not as impressive. Pogba's got things like, let me find them. He's got like, his expected assists, his goal creating actions, his assists, his shots. He's all in the high 90s in the world, where Donny's are a little bit more in the 80s, some of them even the 50s and the 60s. But when you look at what Donny does defensively, how little he's pressing, how little tackles he has, how little interceptions and blocks and clearances. That's kind of on the same pattern as Pogba as well. And then you look at what Scott McTominay does. Not perfect, not necessarily suited to this position, but McTominay's strong in aerials, clearances, blocks, interceptions. And then Fred sort of dovetails in nicely with the stuff that Scott doesn't necessarily do. Pressures, tackles, interceptions, blocks. He's in the top 2% of players in the world for blocks, Fred. Like, I don't think he's an elite footballer on the ball. I think he's pretty ordinary on the ball, but off the ball, and people say it's not about running around like an headless chicken. It's not. But he's actually generally effective as a defensive asset. He's in some pretty awful sort of percentile for like aerials and anything that he does in terms of creating shots.
Yeah, you can pad out the stats with Fred, yeah, and he's great at retrieving the ball. He'll be up there with the top echelon of tackles, probably duels won, etc. I get that, yeah. But that doesn't make you a complete or great defensive midfielder. I think you look at people like in the modern game now, Fernandinho, Rodri, Busquets, Fabinho. They're not guys, Kante. They're great, yes, at getting to people. They can all get to people. Busquets play probably a little bit less and Rodri a bit less. They're a bit different. But what their best attributes are is understanding space, when to press, when to just stay, when to defend an area rather than wanting to be up against somebody. A good defensive midfielder doesn't need to make tackles all the time. Busquets and Michael Carrick, who in my generation were two of the best, they would never be up there in terms of tackles in the high percentage. It's not about that sometimes. It's defending, it's stopping problems before they arise. It's standing in an area that a player on the opposite side thinks, I can't get the ball into that area, so I'll pass it 5 yards sideways now. I'll pass it backwards now because they're standing in the area I want to play it into. It's defending sometimes, not actually against the ball, but away from the ball to stop the opponent's passing forward. That's as important, and sometimes, if not more important, than making a tackle at times. So when we talk about stats of tackling, etc., sometimes that for me goes out the window at times. It's got to be on your eyes and where to be, and intelligence, game understanding. And that's where I think Fred probably lacks in that area. And all of the defensive midfielders or players that we need to play in that position within the squad probably lack that element of understanding, probably bar Matic, but Matic, I think, is at the wrong end of his career to be really effective and be the main guy in that position.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think that we need to get Kante or Ndidi or someone that's going to be an absolute destroyer in there. One of my favourite teams to watch was our 2008 side, and it didn't have that. It had a bit of legs in Owen Hargreaves, but Carrick defended space, didn't he? Carrick defended by blocking off passing lanes. Carrick swept up nice. He probably had a high level of interceptions, but I bet he didn't have a lot of tackles. You know, I think that you can go that other way, and that's what I thought maybe Neves could bring to that role. I know he plays a little bit higher up than Carrick, but who else in world football right now could do that? Kimmich, he's still a bit of a destroyer at times.
You ain't getting Kimmich.
I know we're not getting Kimmich, but who is that guy in world football? Who's that Carrick style number 6?
I've been quiet today, guys.
I think you can't look to replicate certain people. It's like when Roy Keane left Man United all them years ago. We didn't go into the market and try and replicate finding a Roy Keane because it's near on impossible, obviously. But you don't try and just replicate what you had. We went and got a Michael Carrick. There was a lot of disgruntled Man United fans at that time. I remember he grows into being a top player, but I don't know. Is there someone in the youth system who's growing who can be put in there? Is there someone in the game? Everyone's been talking about Declan Rice as being that guy, being that player.
Mostly you, by the way.
Yeah. I think Declan's a top player. I think he's fantastic. I think he's a great talent. West Ham fans won't thank me for saying it, but when you're talking about the top players who are going to be on the list of all the top teams, Declan Rice will have to be on that list.
Too expensive.
Jude Bellingham.
You got Dylan Levitt in the academy, who I think's got a bit of a Carrick vibe about him. Not very physical, but has got the ability to just be metronomic with his passing. I mean, he makes his debut in Astana away in Europe. And I think he completed 101, 102 out of 106 passes on your debut as a teenager. That's phenomenal. Now, I know the opposition counts, but he was playing in basically a youth team playing in a European fixture. So he
I know,
still
but
managed
that's
to
what I
do
mean.
it.
Steve, you're talking about passing with the ball. We're not talking about that. We don't need a player who can come in and pass the ball 100 times. We need someone who can actually stop the other opposing team doing what they've done to us the other day, where Fred gets bounced on the halfway line. He should have probably brought him down. That's where the difference between them top foreign sides, especially, that player gets taken out and takes a yellow card quickly, because that's that in-game intelligence and understanding to stop it. And I think there's a clip straight away after when the goal had gone in, Ronaldo going like, you should have take him down. Why has no one took him down? That's that inexperience.
Which Ollie's got, because Ollie's famously got a red card at Old Trafford doing that.
Yeah. But it's difficult, Ollie having it on the sidelines and put it in someone on the pitch. That's the problem. So, listen, man, we can go on and on about Man United as we always do. But, the windows come. Let's look at the next 5 games Man United have got.
We can actually carry on.
The next 5 games Man United have got. And by the way, I would prefer to have them type of games than the so-called easy ones. Liverpool, City, Spurs. Who else? Atalanta, I think, are in there.
Leicester on the 16th. And then it's Atalanta at home. And then Liverpool at home, and then Tottenham away, then Atalanta away, and then the Manchester derby, and then Watford, who probably got 2 new managers to come before that happens.
Yeah. Wow. That's hard games, but they're the ones you want.
I ain't said much today. Wait. I ain't said much today. All I'm going to say is, no, you would not have those type of games. Let's stop lying. Because in the form that you are in right now, you do not want to buck up against Mo Salah running down the wing. You don't want that.
Yeah, but you know what that does? You know what that does?
Enough.
No, Joe. You know what it does?
That's the best thing
you ain't got the elite mentality, bruv. That's why you want to go up against. You know what that can do for the dynamics in the changing room. Do you know what that can do? If you win them games, but if you win them games, Joe, do you know what that does for the changing room? That brings you back.
I'm not saying it's huge. I know
crazy amount. What I'm saying to you is, if you go and play like a so-called lesser team that you expected to beat, you could beat them 3 or 4-0, but you still come up against a big team down the line and still there's doubts. Whereas now, you beat them, you get them done, you move on.
That's all well and good, right? Makes sense what you said. But in your current form, the way you guys are playing, it's not really time for you to be meeting up a top-class Liverpool team the way they played in the second half. I'll be as a fan, not as a player, because I think for me as a human being, it's all about elite, innit? But as looking from the outside, I'll be afraid. Because I think to myself, my team's gonna get wiped up, man. Like if you
you thought that last season. Our best results last season were against the big sides.
Well, we'll see, innit? We'll see it. It ain't happened yet. We'll see.
Anyway, I got an apology for you, Joel. I was wrong last week. You didn't get beat by Brighton, but you did get smacked up and celebrated a draw, though.
Yeah. It was a 0-0 drubbing.
You guys, man, I'm getting under your skin. You know, I can see it.
No, Brighton, you got to shout out Potter and his team, man. Brighton, the way they popped us all the other day, wow. Every team they're playing against Palace done well against them, to be fair. But most teams they play against, they keep the ball, they create chances. They're a really good team to watch. They understand what they're all meant to be doing. Well coached, well drilled team, and it's a difficult game. That wasn't an easy game away at Brighton. I think that's a result to celebrate for this Arsenal team.
Okay, cool. See, I was going to ask a question and then you got cheeky. Yeah, I was going to say, do you think Brighton away is difficult for most teams in the Premier League now? Not just Arsenal, most teams.
Yeah, I think it is. Jokes aside, I think it's a difficult game for most teams now. It's a hard place to go. They're a good football team. They're tactically very, very good. Spot on, the manager. I really like him and what he's doing down there.
Yeah, I respect him.
Still need a good man. Still need a bit more goals. They do everything apart from score.
Yeah, I agree. If there's like a top number 9 in there, there'd probably be a few more places up the table. But they're flying at the moment.
No, they're doing well, man.
A few more places. They'd be top if there was a few more places at the minute. Flying.
By the way, Brentford away at West Ham.
Told you.
I told you guys. West Ham is not easy. I mean, Brentford's not easy, you know. You guys laughed at me in the first game of the season.
I think in London it goes Chelsea, Tottenham, Brentford, and who gives a shit?
Oh no, they're doing well, man. We were talking. I'd love to go down there. We'll have to go down there at some point and meet them and go behind the scenes a little bit. It'd be great to see what they're doing down there because they're really producing. They've not come up and just trying to hang on. It's a bit like Sheffield United when they came up, bit of an unknown quantity, and they've surprised a good few teams. But now there won't be no more surprises.
If you can extend it into and beyond Christmas, that's when you haven't been figured out. That's where you can see what's happening, and their team is still a championship team, so they're overperforming what they should be at the moment. But they are doing well, and then they're not scared. And a lot of teams that come up play like this because they've been buoyed off the confidence of either winning or getting promotion from the championship. So they know that they can take teams on and they can beat teams. And Leeds were similar to this. They'll probably get a smacking off someone. They'll get 4 or 5 put past them. And it's whether then the management can keep their bottle and keep playing the way that they want to play, because if they then start to change it, they're not equipped. If you was the champions in one league last season, you're not necessarily immediately equipped unless you've worked on it all summer to be able to flip into a more defensive formation that's going to look to maybe play without the ball and try and hit teams on the counter. I think Brentford could do that with some of the attributes that they've got. But at the moment, they're looking to get on the front foot against teams, which is admirable. That's what we enjoy about it.
That's what I like. They're not scared. But also, look, moving on to Spurs, I thought everyone thought Spurs were dead and buried, but they're up to 8th now, So 2 points off of the top 4. Son looks like he's hitting a bit of form again. So Tottenham, I'll be interested to see how they continue after this little international break.
They got Newcastle on the back end of the break, which should be a win the way Newcastle are playing at the moment.
Newcastle are struggling, man. Wolves, by the way, Jimenez is back. He's looking like a top draw player again, by the way. And that's a good shout out to someone like him because he's been through a lot with his head injury. He's come back now. He looks like the Raul Jimenez that we saw before that head injury. So well done to him, by the way. Shout out Raul Jimenez.
Who's his partner up top again?
South Korean boy. Yeah. He scored 2. Beautiful.
Looking spicy, bro.
Yeah, that's a good partnership. That's a front 2 there that you'd go, oh, that's going to be an hard game today. There's pace, there's a bit of guile, there's a bit of strength, there's a bit of like runs behind, and both know how to hit the back of the net. That's what I like. That 2, put them up front and say, right, if you can deal with us, you'll do well to get a result against us today, dealing with us too. It's good. I like it. So yeah, man. Listen, I've enjoyed today. Man United has been obviously a bit of it's just, when you don't get the result you want, man, we're like all fans, you're a little bit like you let down and you just feel deflated. But international break now, we've got time to kind of that's what I hated as a player. Going into international break on a result that isn't positive used to kill me because it's 2 weeks now thinking about it. Joe, put that cold cup of tea away, bruv.
Listen, today I purposely, I'm running the thing off my phone. Sorry, apologies, guys. I'm letting Steve lead the way, and I'm letting you guys, enjoy it, have a good time, say what you want to say. I could have come in here with loads of smoke today, I've come here humble, no agenda, You
can't come in there with any smoke when your team's doing what they're doing.
I can. No, I can. Because everything I've been saying has come to pass. I could be real cocky at the moment, but I'm just chilling.
How can you be cocky?
Exactly. When your team's in double figures in the league, you can't chat to me.
You're saying 11th as if the league table is like all far. Like we were on top of Spurs last week. They won 1 game, we drew. They're 8th.
Oh,
anything can happen.
Spurs above you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's leave it now, guys. Don't let me start. Don't let me start opening you up now, please.
Guys, man, we're only 4 points behind. We're 3 points behind you. No, sorry, 4 points behind.
You're not even the Dons in your own area code, bruv. You're not even the Dons in your own area code. Come on,
guys.
We're only 3 points off Crystal Palace, mate. So relax.
Guys, this is all well and good here.
Put that cold cup of tea down and chill.
And Watford.
All right, fellas. I think that's the end for today. All right,
I love you guys, man. Take care.
Peace.